It's the MythWits, a geek pop culture web series, broadcast live for video and audio podcasts. Watch us live at MythWits.com and find us on YouTube and iTunes, bringing you news and reviews about geek pop culture. We have comedy skits, play nerd-tastic games, and provide extensive on-location con coverage.
I'm here with Nate Taylor. Hi, Nate.
Hi, Pete.
So what am I talking to you about today?
So I guess the first project is the one we're presenting here at the con. Somewhere about 7 years ago, I guess now, we started an independent feature film project, and it is screening this year on Saturday.
Okay. And that is?
It's called Project London.
Which you may have heard of on the internet.
There's a chance. I mean, if you've heard of it anywhere, it would be the internet.
No, that was being a little... My listenership's probably heard of this.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's... While we're here, Jen Page, who's the lead actress in the film, and I will be answering Q&A, or I guess statements, whatever, after the film screens on Saturday.
Okay. And so what did you do on this? How did you work? What was your role?
So I was with the core visual effects team on the film. All in all, there were, I think, about a dozen people who really worked in the post side, visual post.
Right.
We had a separate group of people on sound. And I was one of the 4 people who were pretty much with the post team the whole way through.
Okay, so you've been working on this for quite a while. You personally been working on this.
Yeah, I started with the project in 2007.
Okay, so just so you know, I used to work with Nate. So you were working on this, and I didn't even know about it when I was working with you.
That's true. Although actually, most of my work had wrapped up by the time that I was there.
Oh, really? Okay.
I had like random bits and pieces of input here and there, but by that point, it had kind of gotten into the color correction, final editing, sound design stage.
So this thing's been around for a while.
Everything took a lot of time to finish, thanks to the fact that we had gaps, and of course it's hard to organize a team of people you can't pay, so we had to manage things in a smart way.
Right, okay. So would you say there'd be long periods of time where things wouldn't be getting done because you just couldn't coordinate, or you weren't getting your big jumps and getting work done because I was like, well, this guy's off on vacation.
Yeah.
This guy just had a kid.
Yeah, it's funny. That's about what it was like. And the people working on the film, like all of the different teams we had to do the various aspects, were great and very efficient workers. But getting the tasks started was an ordeal because everybody had their own life schedules to deal with.
Sure. And how long? All right. So were you did you were working on the visual effects and such? Mm-hmm. Were you ever with doing any of the camera shots or on any of the filming locations or any of that kind of stuff?
No. So that's actually one of the most interesting parts about the film is we had somewhere around 250 volunteers total, from all over the world. We had a couple people who are overseas, folks all over the U.S. contributing to the visual effects work, and I did all of my work remotely, starting when I was in college, actually in Georgia, and then some after I'd moved to Baltimore. And everybody was doing that basically as we worked via, Dropbox, FTP, whatever, sending emails. And I had never met anybody on the film at all, except online, until after I was done working on it.
Wow. Okay, so you mean hey, I've been looking at you forever.
Yeah,
I know you.
Yeah, it's funny. I wound up on the project. I met Ian, the director, and one of the other VisFX leads on the film happened to be a friend of mine, Colin Levy, who I knew in college, introduced me to Ian's work, and I joined his forum just sort of for fun and posted some of my work there, and that's how we got acquainted.
Okay. Now I know you do some music as well. Did you do any music on the soundtrack? Did you do any?
I didn't.
Did you contribute any music to it?
No, Ian and I like to jam, but I actually on Project London pretty much all I contributed was 3D work. And although I often do the entire visual effects process through compositing, I would basically submit my finished 3D files for Ian, and he'd wrap everything up on his end.
Cool. Okay. So, what was your biggest challenge? What would you say, scheduling, I guess, was a big challenge.
Yeah.
But technically, what was a big challenge? Were you fine with how powerful your computer was? Did you have to figure ways to do things? Like, oh crap, my computer can't handle this, so I'm gonna have to do the shot a different way.
That was the opposite problem, where I had built myself a monster computer to do whatever I wanted,
right.
And I made files that other people couldn't open.
Oh, okay. So that would be a problem.
That was a bit of a hurdle. It was funny. We kept having to find. Actually, we used the open source software Blend. Blender.
Okay, yeah, that is,
which
yeah.
it's free, so anyone can download it. So we decided to use it since the project was sort of done around this volunteer, no budget.
Because you could say, go download this. And,
yeah, exactly.
Right.
So we were working with a bunch of Blender artists, and the software is currently in development, constantly in development, and they update it as they go. So we sort of had to get around the quirks of the program and find workarounds that wouldn't make us be sending 2 gigabyte files back and forth, because that just becomes unreasonable after a point.
Right. So one of the things that I've noticed is that you get a lot of movies that are big budget movies, right? And the movies really float on this big budget. So they got a lot of effects, a lot of fire and explosions and all this kind of stuff. And they handpick these stars who are going to draw in, and the story lacks, or there's, it just seems to be, like, for example, let's take everybody's favorite Star Wars, right? The first 3 are, 4, 5, and 6 are really awesome, and I just felt like the episodes 1, 2, and 3, they were good. I'm not going to bash on them, but they weren't as good as the other ones as far as I'm concerned. But they had so much more budget and so much more effects and so much. I mean, do you feel as though, because I kind of feel this way, that when you're hit with those limitations, it actually brings out something else in you, and sometimes you can do things better.
I think it does. I think, and especially anymore, budget in big film tends to lead to complacency.
And that's what I was looking for right now.
I mean, since the project for us, for everybody on it, was really a labor of love, we had to invest a lot in it. And it's fun looking back now and seeing the decisions that we made that we would have changed, knowing what we know now. We started when we were all 18, 19, 20, essentially.
Right.
And we made bad decisions, and we made some good decisions. But we also made it hard on ourselves. We expected it to be about a year, maybe 2 years of a project, I think, at the start, which was ridiculous, of course.
Right.
But the finished film actually has 770-something visual effects shots in it. These are like, robots and explosions, like you mentioned, which was stupid for us to do. But we finished it somehow, and I'm really proud of the product we managed to turn out.
Do you think, I think it lends sort of like a charm to it. It's like, we did this, and that shot's really kind of messed up. I wouldn't do that this way now.
Yeah.
But it kind of adds a bit of a charm to the movie, because
it does.
It's if everything is squeaky clean and perfect, everything looks the same as everything else.
Yeah. It's especially fun chatting with the other people who were heavily involved with the project, the director, producers, and the lead actors. And we all look back and note the things we did that we thought were pretty amateur. And it was a big important part of the project for us, is that it was a huge learning process. And for many of us, it was our first big professional experience, despite the fact that it wasn't, a salaried job.
Right.
Is that we were doing work to release as a feature film.
Right.
And I think that sort of mindset was really the first time any of us had tried to tackle a project like that.
And it's kind of cool that, you got Jen Page in the movie, right? So,
yeah.
So she probably started on this a long time ago.
Yeah, so
before she was before she was Jen Page, who she is now.
She was still kind of Jen Page. But it's fun because everything was just sort of who was around, and the project was shot all in Seattle, where I now live to work with these folks. But Jen Page, while she has always sort of been Jen Page, I guess this was one of her other, big projects at the startup as well.
Well, that's what I mean. Prior to this, I think, like when she probably first started, she probably didn't have quite the popularity she has today.
Yeah, although we can't claim. I don't think we can claim that we made her popular. I think
I'm not saying that at all.
Made Jen Page popular, but we're happy that she's in the project.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I just think it's kind of cool, because it's somebody trying to start a film and do something this might not have been able to.
That's true.
Bring somebody like with her talent in.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the actors on the film were great. They would donate their time essentially, just like everybody else. So it's great to have gotten talented and especially not recognizable people. Like
so,
Jen.
is there any because you've seen all the video and everything because you're on the edit? Have you seen? Is there anybody in the movie who's going to break out? Like, is there another name that nobody really, or that people don't really know about, that you think is going to? We might be looking to see.
Tricky because there's several of them, but most of them are people whose name you will never see on the big screen.
Okay.
One of the other lead actors, Josh, who jokingly points out that this was his least favorite of his roles.
Okay.
If Josh does a character, he doesn't he doesn't think is particularly powerful. He refers to it as his Nebraska.
Okay.
And that's because, like the rest of us, he was young and sort of getting into the fray of it. And Josh is actually working with us on some current projects, and he's a phenomenal actor.
Okay.
I definitely think you'll be seeing his name around.
Okay.
However, there are enough people who worked in the visual effects team and the sound teams and stuff as well who frankly do stunning work.
Okay.
And some of them have worked in other bigger projects even than ours.
Wow, okay.
But, it's sort of the behind the scenes, and that was another fun part of the project, is there's so many people working on it that we just wound up getting good talent.
That's good. That's
Kind of by sheer volume.
So is there anything, anything I haven't brought up about Project London that, you think is important to talk about?
Well, let's see. It's screening on Saturday at 5 p.m. in case somebody watches this before Saturday.
It probably won't happen.
Won't happen because you're not going to edit it before Saturday.
Right.
You can find out more about the film if you'd like by going to projectlondonmovie.com, where you can also stream or buy the film. And you can get the software used to make the film at blender.org.
And is this is just going to be an online distribution type of thing? Like, it's not going to get screened anywhere other than, like, say, GenCon or whatever? Or
Possibly. I mean, it's
Are they pursuing that? Like, maybe
Yeah.
trying to get, like, maybe a limited run or something?
It's going into some festivals. I don't think we're ever going to try to get into theaters.
Right.
But yeah, it is already available on the website, but only through the official Project London website, so far as I know. There's a possibility that in the future it'll wind up on Netflix or some streaming service for all I know. I'm actually not in the team of people that distributes it, but for now it's just the official website.
All right, and then before you go, you have another project that you're working on now. What's your new thing?
So the new project, I'm working with a lot of the same people who I teamed with on Project London. Ian, the writer-director of Project London, is also one of the heads of this new project, Dynamo. You can find out about Dynamo at karmapirates.com.
It's a K?
K-A-R-M-A.
Right,
like
okay.
Whatever.
And what's the...
I don't know why it's Karma Pirates, but it is. It sort of stuck. Anyway, but the new project Dynamo is episodic, and we chose that specifically because we wanted faster availability of control. When we made a feature film, it sort of taught all of us that, especially with no budget, it's 7 years.
Okay.
So you invest 7 years, and if at the end of it you didn't like your product, then you would have wasted those 7 years. So our current thing, we do it in it's about 15 to 20 minute chunks, and that allows us to work on. Although it really should be a month or 2 months, it allows us to work on an episode for 6 months because again, this is our passion project.
Right.
And release it and see how people like it. It's really all about vibe, the project, so we're experimenting a lot with feel and look and sound, and creating a universe that feels distinctly unlike something big movie.
Okay. All right, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to get the episode ready, and then what, you're going to release one about every 6 months? Or
Yeah, it's kind of haphazard. We've got 4 episodes out right now, and the 5th one is 90% done and will hopefully be done within the year.
Okay, so we can already watch some of them.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
and they're on YouTube as well. I mean, if you go to the website, it'll link you to YouTube.
All right, and this is free.
Yeah, this is all free.
Okay.
But there are 4 episodes out. I think they total maybe 45 minutes or so altogether. No, I guess it's probably more than that.
So,
Probably like an hour.
All right, so if I go and I'm watching the 4 episodes and I say, hey, this is really great, does it look like you're going to keep making these? I mean, is it, because you said you want to see how it was going, so
Yeah,
how's
absolutely.
it going? Is it going
Well,
good?
it's going great. The response we've gotten from people who've seen the episodes has been phenomenal. Actually, the most... This is my moment of smiling to myself and feeling a little bit, maybe.
Go ahead, this is your interview.
But one of the fans pointed out that he thought the series was reminiscent of a cross between Firefly and Twin Peaks. So that'll give you an idea of sort of like the approach, like the kind of the visual approach, although ours is a little zanier,
Right.
and that it doesn't make any sense. It's going to, though. Everything ties together. But yeah, the
So
current
unlike
season.
Lost, you have a...
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll actually have a thing. We've got the whole story arc planned out, and the first season is essentially a pilot. It's going to be 6 episodes long, and all told together, they'll be about feature length if you were to play them back to back. And we're hoping to use this to get interest built up in the project, so that we might make it be our life project rather than just a side
So
thing.
like maybe a studio or something, a distributor.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. All right, Nate, well, thank you very much.
absolutely.
Is there anywhere anyone can reach you? You want to pin down anything you
yes,
do?
so you can check out my website at nathanhtaylor.com. That's got links to the projects we've talked about here and examples of work from those projects. Again, check out the official movie website if you can, and the Dynamo site, and that's...
And then Facebook?
Yeah, we've got Facebook pages for everything.
Twitter. And
most of them linked to their respective Facebook pages.
And G+.
Yeah, we're on all the social medias if you're up with that type of stuff. I assume anybody watching this podcast.
Yeah, I would hope.
Because social media.
There's that. All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
You've just enjoyed the MythWits. Join us for a live broadcast next week and every week, Mondays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you miss our live show, you can always catch the encore episodes and the podcast version at our website and on iTunes. Make sure to check out our website at mythwits.com, and of course visit us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and iTunes. MythWits is a Studio187.com production and is protected under an attribution, non-commercial, no derivatives, Creative Commons work. You can download and share it with whoever you like. Just don't change it and don't try to make money with it. Make sure to check out Studio187.com for more cool stuff. See you next week.